welcome to the podcast. Sorry guys, I'm not feeling myself really. I've just eaten 100 Jerusalem artichokes. Anyway, do enjoy. Hello and welcome to Park Date. I hope everyone is well and enjoying themselves in 2023. Welcome to all our new listeners. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy Park Date, which is a mixture of comedy and chat. If you enjoy what you're listening to, and I very much hope you do, please would you leave us a review and subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on socials at Park Date Podcast on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, and leave reviews wherever you get your podcasts from. Today's episode features an amazing woman. We had a walk around Hyde Park. We saw some wildfowl and we reminisced about various Birmingham things. And next time I do an event where I show Birmingham TV, she is definitely going to come and be the special guest. She has appeared in things like Big Daddy's Saturday Show, all kinds of celebrity programs on TV. She has been in a stage version of a Bollywood musical. She's acted, done great stand-up, and she's a brilliant writer as well. It is, of course, Shazia Mirza. I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to Hyde Park. I'm at Speaker's Corner with Shazia Mirza. Shazia, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I thought we should maybe meet at Speaker's Corner, as it's kind of homage to free speech, and very important, isn't it, with comedy and writing? We need to be able to talk about...
you want.
Yeah, exactly. So you can say what we want on this podcast. And what we're going to start by talking about, because we've just been chatting about Birmingham, and it's made me very nostalgic. I wasn't born in Birmingham, but I lived there. You're obviously from Birmingham. We were talking about all these funny TV shows, and you revealed to me that you were on Tiswas. Shazia was on Tiswas. I don't think you've said this before in an interview, have you?
No, because it was so...
Why would anyone ask?
It was so irrelevant to anything in the world or my life, and nobody ever asked me about it. But when you were a kid in Birmingham, it was quite grim in the 80s and the 90s. It was grim. Like the city centre was grim. You'd drive down the M6 and there'd be the M6 and there'd be the Dunlop Fort building, which no one ever cleaned, and it was just filthy, and it was just grim. Everything was dark, and the way out of it was, you were going to be on TV. Get on TV. Any way you could, just get on TV. And there were loads of children's TV programmes coming out of Birmingham. I don't know why.
They made a lot, didn't they?
They made loads. Like, I was on Tiswas, first of all, in the cage with Chris Tarrant and my brother.
Throwing custard pies.
And people were throwing custard pies at us, and it was such a laugh. Because, I'd been at school all week, and then Saturday morning...
Sally James and Chris Tarrant.
I was in a studio with custard pies in my face. And, everybody would be watching, or the whole school would be watching. And then I was on Big Daddy's Saturday Show. I actually loved that. I had a Big Daddy Saturday badge, which he gave me, which I kept for years. I think I've still got it. And I went on in my school uniform, and every day to school I wore the Big Daddy Saturday badge to school every day. And Big Daddy was a wrestler.
Big Daddy was a wrestler. For anyone that doesn't remember, wrestling was quite big. It was shown on ITV on Saturday afternoon, wasn't it?
And he wore a white leotard with Big Daddy written in blue. And I wanted to be on his show. This little Asian girl from Birmingham wanted to be on Big Daddy Saturday. Why? I don't know. And it was so much fun, and he asked me questions about what I wanted to do in my life, and obviously at that time we all just said, we want to be famous. And then my brother, he was in the Central Junior Television Workshop with Alison Hammond and Richard D'Souza and loads of others, and they were all on these kids programs all the time. And it was so weird, because that was like our way out of Birmingham, but when I look back, it just happened in Birmingham at that time as kids. Like, as we grew up, I mean, apart from Alison, which was so funny because then my brother and Alison, they couldn't get jobs as they grew up. I think the accent might have had something to do with it.
I love a Brummie accent.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that were prejudiced towards it. They ended up working in a call centre together.
Right.
In Birmingham.
Right.
And
Hold on, why would you have a call centre in Birmingham? Hello, love.
I mean, it makes people feel at home.
Yeah.
Makes people. They had a call centre in Birmingham with their Brummie accents. And Alison said to my brother, do you know what, I'm not getting any work acting. I think I might do this Big Brother. And my brother went, yeah, you may as well. There's nothing else going on. And then she goes on there and she makes an impact.
Yeah, she's become very famous.
And then she kind of struggles her way through This Morning for like 20 years. And then now, after all this time and all these years, she suddenly becomes more prominent on ITV and becomes really much more famous than she's ever been.
Yeah, I love Alison's laugh. I love as a person with a big laugh. I love Alison's laugh.
Listen, you go to Birmingham, right? You go to Birmingham, go to Handsworth, Soho Road, Ladyport. There's loads of people like that. There was, Rusty Lee. Do you remember Rusty Lee? I mean, there was Rusty Lee.
Rusty Lee was the cook on
she was the
TVAM, wasn't she?
Yeah. And she came from Birmingham, but she did more laughing than she did cooking.
She did, didn't she?
She was always laughing, and as a result, everybody else was laughing. But she was actually a really good cook.
Yeah.
And what she produced at the end was amazing. It's just that you never really focused on that because she was always laughing.
But yeah, really watchable.
But you go to Birmingham, there's full of these characters. It's full of people like this.
It is, exactly. Lots of jokers in Birmingham. And I think one of the things about Birmingham, people there like to have a laugh about the city. Oh. No one kind of, go to Liverpool or Newcastle, people say, it's the best city. No. People in Birmingham, it's kind of
we
like...
put ourselves down before you can.
Exactly, yeah. Comedy's big, isn't it?
It's huge. Yeah. Everybody's funny.
Yeah.
Everybody in Birmingham is funny, or they say funny things, or they've got a funny story to tell. It's just I think it comes from like being really working class, a lot of poverty, and then we kept each other going by telling stories and having a laugh, really.
Yeah. And there's a lot of there's a lot of kind of things which make me laugh about Birmingham. And I said to you, me and Catherine O'Flynn, who's a really good novelist, we're doing this night where we're going to show local Birmingham TV. In fact, we might have to get you to make a special appearances here. Talking about your memories, but one of the things that really makes me laugh, I don't know if you've ever seen Telly Savalas looks at Birmingham.
Oh yes.
So for anyone that's not seen, I'm obsessed by this.
I've seen that clip a million times.
Yeah, so it's this kind of like travelogue of Birmingham with Telly Savalas purporting to be looking around the city. Yeah. He goes to the top of a building and you see New Street Station. He says, "This is the view that took my breath away." Whenever you show that to people, it just becomes the funniest thing ever.
And it is. It's just
brilliant.
I just remember watching loads of TV as a kid because it was from Birmingham.
Yeah.
Like Miss United Kingdom, Miss Great Britain. That came from Birmingham, from Central TV, and everybody on a Friday night would be watching Miss Birmingham's on it tonight. She's on Miss United Kingdom, and everybody would watch it as a family.
Yeah.
Like these young women parading up and down in these skimpy swimming costumes.
Yeah, all the old men at home.
And we'd all be betting, who do you think's going to win? Number 13? No, number 6. Number 6. And it was such a big thing.
Yeah.
It was so... And Pebble Mill, I went to Pebble Mill a million times.
Yeah. Pebble Mill at 1, there's some very funny... very funny episodes of that as well. That kind of talk show they filmed there.
Oh yeah.
There's always helicopters or people parachuting into.
I remember going there to do Ed Doolan's radio show. Ed Doolan had a radio show that came from there.
Yeah.
And I saw George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley coming out.
That must have been so exciting.
I was about 14, and we didn't have phones then. We didn't have cameras then. I asked them for their autograph. George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley, and I'll never forget it. They were so nice.
Have you still got their autographs?
Yeah, I've got an autograph book at home, and I've got their autographs.
Ah.
But we had no pictures or anything like that then. But what was great is Pebble Mill was filmed next to a window. So whenever they were interviewing people,
Yeah, the audience would be behind, wouldn't they?
You'd see people walking past on the street with their shopping, like with their Sainsbury's bags,
exactly.
or Quick Save in those days. They're the Quick Save bags, and people would be walking past, and everybody, there'd be like some big star on there being interviewed, and then there'd be like this woman in the background with the shopping bags, and everybody would go, and you'd see them peering in through the window. Yeah. And it was just so busy. It was just so local, so ordinary. Birmingham is so ordinary.
You're so right, exactly. You'd have these movie stars. They must have been very surprised to be driven up the M1 to Birmingham. And then there'd just be some like old lady with a shopping. I think they had
Michael Douglas in there one time, and he was like a massive star in the 80s and 90s. Basic Instinct had just come out. And all you could see was all these
old ladies
walking past with their trolleys,
with
their Quick Save bags doing the shopping. And you'd go, oh, look at that woman in the background you'd never pay attention to was being interviewed. You'd go, look at that woman out that window. Look at her. It's so right. It was so ordinary.
The production values were quite low. I don't know if you remember, one of my favourite moments, all the bands used to mime their songs, and there was one time they introduced a band and they played the song, but the band hadn't been queued up, so they were just stood there, like not playing their instruments while the song started. And all the members of the band were just like, what are we doing here? It was ridiculous.
It was so local and ordinary in Birmingham.
Yeah.
It was just but when you were in it, it felt really exciting.
Yeah.
Because I remember, going to school. I went to an all-girls school, and for girls, a lot of girls in my class, they felt their way out of Birmingham was to marry a really rich old white guy.
Right.
So I had a friend at school called Penny, and she was obsessed with Mandy Smith and Bill Wyman.
Right.
And she used to go, do you know what? Oh my God, Mandy Smith, she's got it all. She's got it all.
Right.
She's just hit the jackpot. It would never be like, oh look, there's a dirty old man with a young girl. No, we never saw it like that. It's only now that because of the time we live in, we look back and think that wasn't right.
No,
but at the time, it was so right because my friend Penny's like, I want to find a Bill Wyman. God, she's hit the jackpot. She's going to have such a great life. She went out. She had a haircut like Mandy Smith because Mandy Smith had really distinctive hair. Had a haircut like Mandy Smith, had it highlighted like Mandy Smith. She got her dad to get her a professional photo session, had these modelling photos done to send to a model agency so she could be a model, so she could end up with a rich old white guy like Bill Wyman. Then I had another friend who used to say, look, my sister's taking me to Bobby Brown's on Saturday night. And Bobby Brown's
famous club in Birmingham
was the in club. Where if you were a young, attractive woman in Birmingham and you wanted to marry a rich, white, old man, you go there. And she'd go like, oh, she was 14. My sister's taking me to Bobby Brown's on Saturday night. I'm having my hair blow dried, I'm having my nails, and she's going to take me there. And it was like, you had to be 21 to get in. She was 14 and she was going to these clubs.
Oh, God.
My sister was taking her there. She was being, kind of working her way up, grooming herself to marry this, and it was all about being, this is your way out of Birmingham.
Yeah.
This is a way out of Birmingham. It's like you wanted a better life, or there was more glamour beyond this.
Yeah.
Oh,
we both made it out of Birmingham now. We're in glamorous London, so much more glamorous than Birmingham, but I miss Birmingham. Birmingham's got so much. There's so much about it. It's very, very.
But then I have other friends who were born in Birmingham, got married in Birmingham, got divorced in Birmingham, and have remarried again in Birmingham, and will die in Birmingham. I know a lot of girls like that.
Right.
I went to school with.
Well, never left the outer ring road.
Or if they, or I've got some friends who feel like they've done really well. So they moved to Solihull.
Right.
and when I say to them, oh, where do you live now? And they go, oh, we've moved to the country.
Right.
And I'm thinking like, the Cotswolds, Gloucestershire, Oxfordshire. Oh no, just Solihull. I'm thinking, well, that's just a 50 bus ride up the road, really, isn't it? It's not really the country. But, that's how they talk in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Oh, she's moved to the country now.
Yeah, if you go to Warwickshire or something, you've made it, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had one friend who lived in Warwickshire, and she just used to say, I live in the country now. I live in the countryside. I mean, that was where UB40 went when they made their money.
Yeah.
They kind of moved towards Warwickshire.
Yeah. That's where all the stars went.
But they couldn't really leave Birmingham.
Yeah.
So they still had to have a foot in Birmingham.
I don't think Birmingham ever leaves you. There's something strange about it. It kind of gets into you, doesn't it?
You can never get rid of it.
No.
And even when you do try, I've been all over the world, and I do try. I just think when I go back, there's something that I miss, or that I feel, oh man, I really love Birmingham.
Yeah.
There's something about it.
There's a kind of heart to it, isn't there?
I don't know.
Kind of a soul.
I think if you're born and brought up there, it's everything that you are, really. It's your humour, it's your values, it's your outlook on life.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people that left and did well, it was their drive.
Yeah. And we were talking about the Commonwealth Games, weren't we? Which
yeah.
brought a lot of attention to Birmingham. You were doing a little bit for that, weren't you?
Yeah. I hosted the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
And then I did the live broadcast with Lenny Henry and Joe Lycett, which went out to like 1.5 billion people. And we were standing there, and Lenny said to us, just take this in, because it's never going to happen again. It's a real moment. And it was like, because we're from Birmingham, it was like such a moment. It was so.
It looked like you guys were having fun as well.
We were so nervous.
Joe looked like he was having fun.
We were so nervous.
Yeah, were you nervous?
We were so nervous because in the stadium. Well, I did the warm up for the stadium, which was 30,000 people.
Alexander Stadium.
And I did that on my own. 45 minutes to 30,000 people. And it was, but you know what? The audience were great, and they're really warm, and they know me, I know them. But it wasn't broadcast. But when the bit came to where we introduced the different nations, that was broadcast. And we only had one line to say. But we were so nervous. We were like, God, we hope we don't get this line wrong. Hope we don't forget this line. Hope we don't forget what we're introducing. Because it was all about Birmingham. Because like Lenny said, right, come on everybody, let's do what Birmingham does best.
Have a Balti.
And I was like, I mentioned the Balti, but I said, let's big it up for Birmingham. It was all about Birmingham. Everything was about where we're from. And Duran Duran were on. And loads of people were like, I didn't know Duran Duran were from Birmingham. Yeah, all of them are from Birmingham. And people don't know that.
No, people don't know, do they?
Toya Wilcox, she was from Birmingham.
Yeah.
Julie Walters. Lenny Henry, Jasper Carrot. I mean, there's
lots of people.
There's loads of people that are from Birmingham. And in the closing ceremony, they had Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy, of course. Yep.
How can you be Ozzy Osbourne, right, and go all around the world and never lose your accent?
Yeah. Ozzy's the most famous Brummie.
Oh, yeah.
Ozzy's the most famous Brummie.
Oh, yeah.
And he's still got it. Americans must be like, what is that accent?
What's crazy? So it seems to have got worse since he left. Because
it's got stronger.
How could you live in America for all those years and your Brummie accent get worse?
True.
It must be the drugs. It must be the drugs.
He's been in LA for decades. His Brummie accent's got stronger, if anything,
it's
doesn't
just really thick accent.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy.
Yeah.
People know him. He's from Birmingham because of his accent.
Yeah.
But people don't know, Slade, they're from Birmingham.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good music back in the 70s and 80s, But people don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think maybe with the Commonwealth Games, people have seen a bit more. They got quite excited about the bull as well, didn't they? Were you?
Oh, that was such a big thing.
Were you and Joe inside the bull, kind of piloting it?
There was, they had 2 women were inside that bull, and they had to take turns to get inside the bull because you can only be in there for 30 minutes. But they made a big deal of the bull because of the bull ring.
Yeah.
And the bull ring's always been kind of a symbol of Birmingham, and now since they've done it up, it's become, quite an iconic building the way the architecture is done on it.
Yeah.
People always go, oh, have you been up the bull? The famous rag market though was the thing that was really famous. And when I went there in the 80s and the 90s, it was fantastic. You could get like real fur coats for 20 quid, and it was real fur. They don't sell them anymore, obviously, but anything you wanted, you could get. Vintage clothes and vintage boots. They sold really good stuff, and now it's become a bit more modern. So they've kind of IKEA'd it up a bit.
Did you go to the Oasis market as well?
Oh yeah. I used to have pink hair because
did you?
Yeah, as a teenager I had bright pink hair because everybody used to use crazy colour on their hair and dye their hair pink. And it's kind of where mods and rockers and kind of, if you were a punk, you'd go to Oasis and get these drain pipe trousers and, you know, dye your hair pink and have a Mohican. I mean, it was very creative, Birmingham. People in Birmingham were very creative.
Yeah, very creative, very cultural place. Very cheap to live as well, so you can kind of
and
go...
that's still true.
Yeah.
Birmingham is so cheap. When I go back, I think, my God, I've only spent a tenner all week. I mean, it's cheap. Look, the buses are cheap, the rent is cheap.
Yeah.
You know, to eat, to live, to go out, it's so cheap.
Yeah.
I mean...
Let's move back.
Yeah.
We'll get a house share there, maybe.
But the thing is, I think once you've left, it's very difficult to go back.
Yeah.
It's okay if you've lived there or lived on the surroundings all your life. But once you've left and you've been away for so long, it's difficult to get back. Life is very slow in Birmingham. The pace of life is very slow. You go there and people are just cooking all day. They're cooking in the morning, cooking in the afternoon, cooking in the evening. In the morning, what are you doing? I'm cooking for the evening, peeling potatoes for tomorrow. People are just cooking the whole time and talking about food. What do you want to eat on Friday? Friday! It's Monday. I don't even know what I'm eating today. That's all they care about, food.
Well, what do you do on a Friday? You go to Big John's, don't you? Fish and chips on a Friday.
That's really weird how that is such a thing, fish and chips on a Friday. Yeah. All the Asian people that I knew in Birmingham, they would always have fish and chips on a Friday. This is even before the Kumars or what is it, goodness gracious me, came out with that fish and chips sketch. We were doing it in the 80s and 90s, fish and chips on a Friday.
Yeah.
Everybody had fish and chips on a Friday. It
brings everyone together, doesn't it?
And it was cheap then. Yeah. Fish and chips on a Friday. For a whole family, £7.
What was your favourite chippy? Did you go to Dad's Lane?
No, I went to George and Helen's. George and Helen's in Quinton. We lived in Harborne, but my mum and dad would go to George and Helen. They're Greek. A lot of the Greek people, like my friend Christine, she's Greek. Her family owned a fish and chip shop. That was a tradition for like a lot of Greek people to have a chippy. And they did the best fish and chips.
Yeah.
But I went back recently in George and Helen's. They've sold their fish and chips and they moved back to Cyprus. So.
Have they? Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, to retire.
Have to find another one. Well, let's have a little walk through. The sun's come out. Yeah. We'll make the most of this.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed our Birmingham reminiscences.
Yeah.
What should we talk about now? I wanted to talk to you, Shazia, about your programme Pilgrimage.
Oh yeah.
And some other stuff that you've been doing because you've been a busy bee, haven't you?
Have I? What since the lockdown?
Exactly. Did you enjoy doing?
The lockdown was weird. I mean, the lockdown changed people. Oh, it's weird because I went to Birmingham for a couple of months to stay with my parents during the lockdown.
Really?
And I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, what was that like?
I really enjoyed it because it was really hot weather. Yeah. It was really boiling, nice weather, and it was nice to spend time with your parents in these unusual circumstances. No, I'd never be able to normally take 2 months off work and just go and spend it with my mum and dad.
Yeah.
So they were cooking all the time and I was just eating. And it was nice. There was a local park that I went to.
Which park did you go to?
Queen's Park.
Right.
In Harborne. Mm-hmm. When I was a child, I used to go there.
What did you get up to in Queen's Park when you were little?
Well, it was like we didn't have anything to do. We didn't have no money. So we would always, all the local kids would go to Queen's Park.
Yeah.
And they had swings there, roundabouts, they had tennis courts. Me and my brothers would play a lot of tennis there. We'd play tennis all the time. They also had a bowling green where we'd watch all the old men play bowls.
Yeah, old people love a game of crown green bowls, don't they?
I was fascinated by that.
Yeah.
Like, what are these old men doing playing bowls? Like, why? And then when Wimbledon was on, the courts would always be full, people playing tennis. But it was a lovely park, and I went there recently. And they've kind of knocked a lot of the stuff down, like a lot of the swings have gone. The bowling green's still there, but it looks derelict.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not as nice as what it used to be, I think. But it's a lovely little park, Queen's Park, and I used to go there during the pandemic every day for a walk. I could walk there from my house to there, so it was great, really good.
Yeah.
Birmingham's got a lot of nice parks. Cannon Hill Park.
Cannon Hill Park is nice, isn't it?
That's where the Mac is.
Where Mac is, exactly. That's a nice park with a little boating lake.
And a restaurant, nice little cafe there, and a cinema.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm really glad that survived because it's been there all my life.
Yeah, Mac is nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice. Well, as I was saying to you, we're going to show, me and Catherine O'Flynn are going to show some Birmingham, best of Birmingham.
That will be hilarious.
TV and film.
Oh gosh.
We'll have to
Crossroads.
get you.
I mean, Crossroads. It was like Crossroads was like Dallas or Dynasty because it was such a big thing. The fact that it came from Birmingham and it was so long running. Mm-hmm. I mean, Noel Gordon was like Joan Collins.
Yeah.
She was an icon.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bob Warman. He used to read the Bob Warman.
Bob Warman. If you're not from the Midlands, you will not know that name. But he was
read the news for about 80 years.
Yeah, the newsreader, wasn't he, on Central?
On ITV, yeah.
Yeah.
He read the news for about 80 years. And the thing is, these people were huge celebrities. Even before the word celebrity, these.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there was a woman, my mum was obsessed with her. Her name was Kay Alexander.
Well, I knew you were going to say Kay Alexander because me and Catherine were talking about, for this event, we were saying we should dress up as Alan Towers and Kay Alexander, who are the BBC Midlands Today presenters.
That would be hilarious.
Kay Alexander was very glamorous, wasn't she?
Well, I went to school with her son.
Right.
So I went to Harborne Junior School, Harborne Infant School, and her son was at the same school as me. So every day at the school gates, my mum would turn up to pick us up, and Kay Alexander would turn up.
Looking glamorous.
And everybody would be looking at us, like she was fucking Joan Collins or something. Like she was a newsreader. Which I mean, that was a big thing because if you got famous from Birmingham, my God, everybody knew about you.
Kay was very poised, very. She
had short brown hair. Very glamorous.
Yeah, very sort of confident.
Exactly. Always wore high heels, nice clothes. And all the women at the school gates would be staring at, there's Kay Alexander. There's Kay Alexander.
One of my favourite Kay Alexander moments, when they opened Birmingham Airport, you can see this on YouTube, there was a Midlands Today from Birmingham Airport, and Kay does a piece to camera walking up the escalators. It's sort of Alan Partridgey, but it's also very, very good. She's a great presenter, but
yeah, she was.
Yeah, I can imagine all the mums at the school gates must have been like,
oh my God,
Kay's turned up.
Because then you'd go home and you'd see her on the telly.
Yeah, bit of glamour. By the way, we're walking through. There's geese everywhere.
What is going
There's
on here?
Hundreds of geese. They're looking a bit menacing, actually.
How old is Kay now?
That's a good question. We need to find that out.
She must be in her 70s.
Yeah, we need to find that out.
She must be in her 70s.
But
Bob Warman, he's dead now.
Yes, he is, sadly, isn't he? He was.
But he was around all your life. I met him a few times. He read the news for about 80 years.
And Catherine O'Flynn's novel, The News Where You Are, is kind of inspired by local news. Somebody needs to make a TV show or a film adaptation of that book. It's brilliant, but it's kind of a homage to those of Birmingham local TV news programs where you get that juxtaposition of maybe there'd been some proper news like a drug raid or something like that, or they'd been
and then there'd be a story. Somebody's had their washing stolen from their front garden in All Green.
Exactly.
Everybody used to buy the Birmingham Evening Mail.
Yeah.
My dad still buys it.
Does he still buy it?
He still buys it every day.
Yeah.
And he buys it because it's got local news, and he reads through it and he goes, oh, I know him. Oh, jeez, I know her. Oh, look what's happened to so and so.
I think that's the reason for local news, is that it's kind of that nosy thing where we're interested in gossip and people we know and all that kind of stuff, aren't we? But yeah, the paper is. Well, it always used to make me laugh. I don't know if you remember. Let's walk over this way towards the lake. But I don't know if you remember with the Evening Mail. They do these posters outside the newsagent, and it would advertise that day's paper.
Oh yeah.
And the way they wrote it, the way they would write the posters, it would sound like it was sort of a weird superhero. Someone collected all these on a website.
Right.
So, for example, if they'd been a sort of knife crime thing,
Yeah.
it would say like evil knife man caught or something. You'd be like, oh, is he like he's sort of like an evil superhero, evil knife man?
Right.
Or it would be like maybe if someone had been drink driving or something, it would be like drink drive man sentence. You're like, well, he's this evil superhero, drink drive man.
Yeah.
The way they wrote it, I thought was always quite funny.
Yeah.
But it was always really funny. So have you ever thought, Shazia, about pitching some kind of like Birmingham related TV show or something where you kind of go back there, or a kind of comedy drama set there?
Well, I've written a couple of pilots actually, 2 sitcom pilots. Both of them were based in Birmingham.
Oh, let's get those commissioned.
And now I'm on my 3rd pilot, which is actually about growing up in Birmingham. It's based on teenage girls at an all-girls school in Birmingham, and about teenage life growing up in Birmingham, based on my life, really.
Sounds brilliant.
And that's looking very promising, actually.
Oh, we need that on our screens. We need that on our screens.
We've had Derry Girls, but we've not had anything like.
We need that. Well, I think
Birmingham's so multicultural. And
there's so many things you can say. I thought the Rotters Club, Jonathan Coe's.
The Rotters Club.
Yeah, his novel and that TV show was
Peaky
good.
Blinders.
How can we forget that? That's become really famous, hasn't it? People in America talk about that.
They've got an American version.
Yeah.
They've got an American version of Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders is very, very, very big. Well, like, are you from Birmingham?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like Alabama, Birmingham.
Yeah, exactly. The other Birmingham. But that pilot sounds great. We need to get that on screen.
Based on all real characters that I went to school with.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
All the girls who were trying to trap middle-aged rich men.
That's so
One of them was very successful in doing so.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. One of them. The others not so much, but one was very successful.
Would you play like the head teacher or something?
I'd play one of the teachers, or there was the teachers were characters as well.
Well, I know, obviously, you've been a teacher yourself, haven't you, for a bit, Shazia? So you'd be able to play that role. But did you have some kind of comedy teachers when you were?
Oh God!
When you were there,
we were in an all-girls school. All the teachers were women.
Yeah.
And they were really hardcore, strong women. We never heard the word feminist or anything like that growing up. It didn't really exist.
Feminism was only invented 2 years ago.
We didn't really know what it was. Yeah. But we had these 2 PE teachers who were lesbians, and they were having an affair.
Really?
Oh my God, we were obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like in trampolining, they would stand by the sidelines. They were meant to be watching us. We'd nearly die falling off a trampoline. They'd be eyeing each other up, these 2 PE teachers. Then they'd go missing for 20 minutes. Then they'd come back. And then they'd be all dishevelled and stuff. Miss Morant and Miss Collins, they were having an affair. It was bonkers. And we were always laughing about it. But, there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
But they were the fundamental thing is that they were all really good teachers.
I thought of a question earlier that I wanted to ask you. In a rare moment of professionalism for me, I pre-prepared a question, and the question was going to be this: do you think that being a teacher helped you to be a stand-up? Do you think it prepared? Do you think it prepared you in a way to like deal with crowds and like public speaking?
It's the absolute basis of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Because what I was doing in the classroom every day in a rough East End comprehensive was stand-up comedy. Yeah. It was crowd control, it was trying to get their attention, it was trying to keep their attention, it was trying to keep them entertained and engaged for an hour. An hour to 16-year-old boys in Tower Hamlets.
Right, including, according to Wikipedia, Dizzee Rascal. I don't know if that's true.
Yes, yeah. Dylan Mills. Yeah. But the thing is, comedy's a lot easier than any of that.
Than being a teacher?
Oh my God, that was so difficult.
Yeah.
Comedy has been easier. You walk into a club, they're all facing in the right direction. No one's trying to stab me or put a patty flower on my car on the way out. It's easy.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was the best training for stand-up was being a teacher.
What was the point? Because you were obviously thinking about acting and stuff when you were younger. What was the point when you thought, actually, maybe comedy is the route for me?
If you were growing up in Birmingham, in working class Birmingham in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, you know what? You just wanted to be famous. You wanted a way out of there. You either wanted to be famous, you wanted to marry somebody famous, you wanted to be discovered.
Yeah.
You wanted somebody to come and transport you to a different life. You didn't actually think about, I'm going to have to put some work into this, and I might, I want to be a famous actress or a famous singer. You did have people who said, I wanted to be in a band.
Yeah.
But it was really about getting out of there in any way you could.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, was there a point where I guess you've been like naturally funny, right? Was there a point where you thought I can make a career of
No, there was
this?
never that point. Even when I started stand up, I kept on hold of my NAS UWT card, my teaching union card, because I thought, do you know what, I might have to go back soon. When they find out I've just been masquerading, I'm going to have to go back to being a teacher.
There's a few other comedians who've been teachers, like Greg Davis springs to mind.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a few other people who did teaching as well, isn't there?
No, there's loads of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dawn French.
Yeah, Dawn French.
She used to be a teacher.
Yeah, that's another good one. But yeah, I guess you see those crossovers. But yeah, there's so much power in laughter, and I think you can make people listen, can't you? People get bored easily, but if you entertain them, if you make people laugh, then you can it's like sugar in the pill, isn't it? So if you're teaching kids something difficult or boring, then maybe if you make it funny, you can kind of make them listen a little bit more, can't you, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it's really hard to make kids laugh.
Yeah.
It was
they're a tough crowd.
They've got a different sense of humour.
Yeah.
You can't do your adult jokes on them. You can't start doing your sex jokes on these 14-year-old boys in Tower Hamley. And you're meant to be teaching them the periodic table.
Yeah, exactly. We're just by a lake now, by the way. It's quite nice, isn't it, with the sun going down?
I've been here in the summer and it's been really nice.
Yeah, it is.
This is the boating lake.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd be quite up for a swim, but it's probably a little bit cold, isn't it?
I went swimming this morning.
Where do you go swimming?
I go Hampstead Ladies Pond.
Oh, nice. The one place that I'm not allowed to go. I've never been there.
No, but they've got a men's pond.
Yeah, men's pond.
And they've got mixed pond as well.
I like the mixed pond. And it's nice, isn't it? Because you feel...
It's proper fresh cold water.
And you kind of... There's like ducks and you feel the weeds and everything, don't you?
It's proper wild swimming.
Yeah.
I mean, in winter, it does get cold.
Yeah.
I can only do... In the winter, freezing cold, maybe 7-8 degrees.
Yeah.
I can only do maybe 10 minutes in there.
Yeah.
But in the summer, I swim for an hour.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's nice to do. I go swimming every day. I think it's a nice thing to do. I didn't realise you're a swimmer, but that's
I've been swimming since I was 5. I used to go to Bourneville Baths in Birmingham.
Right.
That's where I learned. Bourneville Baths are situated right next to Cadbury's chocolate factory.
Yeah.
So when you were swimming, all you could do was smell the bloody chocolate. Oh my God. So the kids would be like, oh my God, I can smell the Caramac. I can smell dairy milk. And you'd get out of the pool and the first thing you do is you'd go to the machine and you'd get a chocolate bar for 10p, double decker, anything Cadbury's.
Was that your choice, double decker?
Well, do you know what? Cadbury's do the best chocolate in the world.
Yeah.
It was the best chocolate.
Yeah.
And, oh God, I used to love Drifter.
What was a Drifter?
A Drifter.
I don't remember that.
There was 2 of them in a packet.
Was it like a bit, like 2
chewy.
fingers, like a...
Yeah, and it was a bit chewy.
Caramel
chocolate.
And biscuit or something.
Yes, and it was really nice.
A Drifter,
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Cadbury World is a very good day out. Even if you're a grown up.
Is it still open?
It's still open, I believe. You get your free chocolates. Do you remember you go round? This sounds bizarre, but you go to the Aztec section. You learn about the history of chocolate, and do you remember they give you a shot of this weird tasting kind of cocoa drink or something that the Aztecs used to have.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, this doesn't taste much like chocolate. And there's all these kind of Aztec figures around and stuff. Yeah. Very educational. Yeah. And then you just see lots of Cadbury's characters, and it all gets a bit bit trippy. But it's a fun day out, isn't it?
It's brilliant, and the smells there.
Yeah,
they bring back so many. And Bourneville is such a cute area.
Yeah, very very picturesque,
Quaint.
isn't it? Exactly.
It's a little
Model
village, isn't it?
Yeah, built
We've
for
got
the
a lot of
workers.
garden centres.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe let's walk back round this way, Shazia.
It's called Hyde Park Boating Serpentine Lake.
Serpentine Lake, exactly.
Oh, I think there's a Diana Memorial near here.
There is near here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Exactly. And you have to be, if you want to swim here, you have to be a member, don't you? I think of the Serpentine.
Oh, that's right.
Serpentine Swimming Club.
I once went to the Serpentine Gallery summer party.
How did you get an invite for that? That's a hot ticket.
I got an invite there, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember standing next to Piers Morgan in the queue.
What was he like?
trying to get a drink. He was actually quite nice, quite funny, yeah. But there was a lot of famous people there.
Yeah.
Jerry Hall was there
Yeah.
before she married that old man. Oh my God.
And there's a lot of kind of millionaire donors and.
Oh, that's right.
they're,
Yeah. Look at these swans, aren't they amazing?
I've never seen take a picture. I've never seen so much bird life. There's a lot of birds around here, isn't there?
Yeah,
We're just by the water's edge, and there's lots of swans. We can hear them in the background trying to get some food, I imagine.
There's a lot of nature around here.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like London, does it? In Hyde Park, it's very, very green, very big. And surrounded by rich people. I think that building over there is the most expensive in London. Lots of kind of millionaires living over there. But yeah, it's still lots of kind of tourists hanging around and people walking and stuff. Yeah, and there's boats as well. I've never been on a boat. Have you ever been on a boat in this?
No.
Lake. Maybe we could. We'll do a follow up, and we'll do a podcast on the boat, the boat in the lake.
Do you have to pay to get on those boats?
I would imagine so. Though I guess if you're game enough, you could just swim out to one and just kind of get in it, couldn't you? If you wanted to. Yeah. If you wanted to roll that way. So I wanted to ask you as well, Shazia.
Oh look, no swimming.
No swimming in this bit exactly, and no fishing.
Yeah.
Good job I didn't bring my fishing rod. But yeah, so you've obviously done a lot of like live stand up, and then you've been doing TV as well. Do you have like I want to know if you have like a preference between doing like TV or
I do love
like
doing
live.
I love doing TV for the hair and makeup. It's amazing. Oh God, it's amazing having your hair and makeup done every day. God, it's so glamorous.
So whenever your agent comes to you with a TV show, you're like, yeah, I'll take it. Is there
Is
hair
there
and makeup?
Oh yeah.
Sign me
Honestly,
up.
it's amazing. I love being in hair and makeup.
Yeah.
I love TV. It's great.
Yeah.
You do stuff and then you kind of forget about it and then it comes out.
Is it easier than doing live stuff, would you say? I guess different.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Live is difficult.
Yeah.
You've got to be in the moment. You've got to be alive. You've got to be able to respond. You've got to remember what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know?
remember your material. Have you watched Marvellous Mrs. Maisel?
No, not yet.
I really love that show, but it strikes me that she never writes anything really.
Yeah.
She never kind of does a routine. She just comes on stage and she'll see something, she'll be like, oh, I'm just going to do a bit about this thing that I've seen. But obviously that's not how it works for stand-up.
Nobody really does that.
Yeah, you have
your material. It makes it look like people go, oh, you know, God, he was just making that up, wasn't he? No, he wasn't. Nobody comes out in front of 2,000 people and stands there with nothing prepared.
Who were your comedy kind of heroes or heroines when you were younger? Was there anyone you were like...
Richard Pryor. We watched Richard Pryor a lot. We watched Richard Pryor, Robin Williams. Look how big that swan is.
Jess is just pointing to an absolutely enormous swan.
That is unbelievable.
It's so big.
Good. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is a very, very big swan. Yeah, Richard Pryor. Was there any other people you were kind of inspired by?
Richard Pryor, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Who I later met many years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was he like?
He was very quiet actually.
Yeah.
But he was amazing. He was very lovely.
Yeah.
Very sweet. And obviously, you know, growing up watching his movies,
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, classic.
And then you get to meet him. You think, wow.
Yeah.
It was amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richard Pryor, Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
She was the only woman really that was around.
Joan Rivers was very good, wasn't she? I always think Catherine Ryan is kind of reminds me of Joan Rivers a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jones.
It's incredible, isn't it? When you know, sometimes I guess whatever it is you do, whether you do music or comedy or whatever, you kind of see, you know, if you're thinking about doing that thing, sometimes you have those people, you see them and you think, wow, they really inspired me, and I really want to be like that. And it's incredible the kind of influence that people can have on you. And I'm sure people come up to you as well, Shazia, and say, like, I really love your stuff, how do I get into comedy?
But you never really believe it.
Yeah.
You know, when people come up to you, you think, oh, they're just saying that. You know, oh, you're amazing, or you're hilarious. You think, yeah, right. You're just saying that. You don't mean it. You're just saying that because you've seen me here now.
I think you're quite a modest person. Do you think that's fair to say? Because that's not true of like everyone in comedy, is it? There's a lot of big egos and.
Oh, there's a lot of big egos.
Yeah.
It's the business of big egos.
A lot of kind of narcissism and.
Well, that's why you're in the business. I think if you didn't have a big ego, you probably wouldn't fit in.
Yeah.
There has to be something about you that makes you want to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's not a normal thing to do.
Stand up in front of people, tell jokes. Yeah.
I mean, when you're like a kid growing up in Birmingham, going to an ordinary school and stuff, you don't think, oh, I want to be a stand-up comedian. It's not even like part of the agenda.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's and it's funny then how, well, obviously when you become more famous, then I guess you get those offers to be on different. You've done quite a variety of different projects, different shows and things. Are you ever surprised when the phone goes and your agent says, "Oh, do you want to do this thing?" Have you ever been made? Obviously.
Oh yeah, loads of stuff. Yeah. Loads of stuff. I think. Nah.
Were there any you were like, hold on, what the hell is this?
Yeah, loads of stuff.
Yeah.
I've been asked to do strange things.
Yeah.
And also things you think, I don't know if I'd be any good on that.
Yeah.
But then, and you always want to do what's your area, kind of, which is comedy.
Yeah.
But these days you get asked to do so many things that are not comedy. There's so many shows which have comedians on where it's got nothing to do with comedy.
Yeah.
It's like squirrel.
Yeah, a little squirrel eating, enjoying his moment of fame. People taking photos.
There's a lot of nature here.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? Exactly. It's good to.
There's a Christmas tree.
I just thought is that a Christmas?
There's loads of what?
This is there's lots of like floral tributes.
This is for the Queen.
It might be, mightn't it? Should we have a look?
But this Christmas, this is a fir tree.
Yeah, this is exactly a Christmas tree, and it looks like it's done up for Christmas, but actually, this is
Oh, this must be for the Queen.
People's tributes, exactly. People have left flags and flowers.
Oh my gosh! And it's still here.
It's still here, yeah. People have written.
That's nice.
Written little tributes and cards and things.
Wow. I love how people have like framed stuff. Look at this gold frame.
Yeah, framed note. And as I can see is that a corgi?
Corgi. Oh, thank you for everything, ma'am.
Yeah.
And it's a corgi with a crown on. How sweet is that?
Corgi with a crown on. I think the saddest part of the whole Queen's death is the corgis, isn't it? We're waiting for her to come home.
Well,
very sad.
They've been given to Andrew now.
Well, it's even sadder.
They've been given to the Duke of York and what's her name, the wife.
And you can see there's someone's left a Bermuda flag. I guess people from different parts of the Commonwealth have left a tribute.
Your Majesty, you served us well for 70 years. Rest in peace. Wow. I mean, people have been very sweet, and
yeah, it obviously affected a lot of people, hasn't it?
I mean, people have really expressed how they feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know this was all here.
No, I didn't either.
Wow.
No, it's quite poignant. There's actually lots and lots of tributes here. Yeah.
Wow. And they've been arranged so nicely.
Yeah.
And I love how they've just been left, actually.
Yeah.
Still here, still.
Exactly. Yeah. People, clearly, a lot of people very, very touched by it. You sometimes think these moments of, I don't know, like whatever it is, national grief or something, it kind of brings people together, doesn't it? Maybe people.
Well, people think about their own grief.
Do you think that's what it is?
I think it triggers their own grief.
Yeah, when you think about
you think about your mother, your father, if they've died, or you think about death in general, or just that she was there all our life. I met her 3 times, you know.
Did you?
Yeah, at Buckingham Palace.
What was she like?
She was so funny and so nice.
Was she? Well, maybe the Queen should have done stand up.
She said to me, "And what do you do?" And I said, "I'm a comedian." She said, "What a fascinating way to describe yourself." Like, are you sure about that, love? Yeah. Are you? And then she said, "And where do you do that?" And I never thought I'd get into a conversation with the Queen.
Yeah.
And all I could think was, when I was on the spot, I thought, "Oh, I'm doing the Royal Vauxhall Tavern tomorrow night."
Did you tell her to go to the RVT?
So I said, "Oh, I'm doing the Royal Vauxhall Tavern tomorrow night. Like, you know, there's tickets available still, you know, do you want to come?" And she goes, "And what's that like?" And I said, "Oh, you know, it's quite nice." She said, "How fascinating." And she said, "No, do you do any TV?" I said, "Yeah, I do some." She said, "What channel are you on?" I said, "Oh, BBC, ITV." She said, "Do people recognise you?" I thought, obviously not. And then she said, "The same thing happens to me. Sometimes I go shooting in the country and people look at me and they go, 'I know you.' And I think, 'Where do you know me from?'" And this was the conversation. This was the conversation.
That is a great conversation.
And I wanted to say, "You're the Queen." Well, it was like she didn't realise or acknowledge she was the Queen. She said, "People look at me when I go shooting in the country and they go, 'I know you.' And I think, 'Where do you know me from?'"
Off the crowd.
Yeah.
Are you that one off the crowd?
Yeah, I saw you in Aldi last week. I mean, where do you know me from? Where do I know you from? Yeah. You are the most famous woman in the world.
I love the way, by the way, you just dropped in. I was at Buckingham Palace. Had you just gone round
3
for
times.
a cuppa?
3 times.
Did she text you? Shazia, come round for a cuppa?
I got 3 invites over the years.
Was it for one of the garden parties or something?
One of them was for a reception at Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
One of them was because the Indian Prime Minister was coming to Britain. So they thought, let's gather up all the prominent brown people in Britain and put on a bit of a do for him, which was amazing, actually.
Yeah.
They had Bhangra dancers in there. And I mean, Meera Syal, Sanjeev Bhaskar were there, Gurinder Chadha. Every brown prominent person that you might have seen somewhere in your life was there.
All together.
And
what was it? What was the other time? You just popped around. Did she give you a spare key? You could just let yourself in.
I mean, and the other time was something to do with charity that I supported. I mean, and when I look back on it now, I think 3 times is a lot, actually, to have met the Queen personally.
Very impressive.
And to have a chat with her each time.
Yeah.
And when she died, I saw Paul McCartney had put this post up on Instagram saying that in his life he'd met the Queen about maybe 8 or 9 times. I thought, 8 or 9 times?
That's only a few more than you.
I know. I thought that's only a few more than me. I met her 3 times and I'm doing Doncaster tonight. You know what I mean? I thought, that is only a few more than me.
Yeah.
Wow. And that made me realise, oh God, it was quite a lot.
Yeah.
I met her quite a lot of times.
So that means you're 33% as famous as Paul McCartney.
I mean,
which is a good level.
When Paul McCartney dies, do you think that there will be an outpouring of grief in the same, not in the same way maybe as the Queen, but?
Well, I sometimes wonder. I feel like grief, it kind of brings maybe these hidden things to the surface. So you don't really. Maybe I don't think people even realise like how much of the sentiment there was for the Queen and for Princess Diana as well. Maybe the same. Maybe for Paul McCartney, there'll be people
his music
leaving guitars.
will forever be played.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And we'll always have that.
We'll always have that. Exactly.
And that's what he's given the world. So, you know.
Yeah, and that's a nice place to finish, because I think when you're doing creative stuff, I think the things that you make then can live on, can't they?
Yeah.
Paul McCartney's music,
your
comedy, your writing, Shazia, your kind of TV stuff. Do you kind of think about that as well? Like you're sort of conscious that you're making this stuff that will be there.
I never think of that. I think when you're doing it, I think when you're doing it, you never think that. I mean, everybody is forgotten.
Yeah.
Eventually, everybody's. There's only a few people in history that you study, but you know, I mean, most people are forgotten over time. But music will always be played on, won't it?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, even comedy, it can become dated. I mean, you know, you can admire Lenny Bruce. I admire Lenny Bruce.
Yeah.
He's one of the first comedians, groundbreaking. George Carlin, the same. But over time, you know, in many more generations, their material might become outdated.
Yeah, and things adapt as well, don't they? We need new people coming through, new ideas, and new
reflections of the world we live in, because it's so different now.
Well, and surely isn't this one of the this is one of the points of comedy, especially, isn't it? It's kind of holding a mirror up to the world. It's kind of saying
at that time.
Exactly. Like, this is the world we live in. This is the kind of
absurdity,
the absurdity of the world,
craziness of this.
Exactly. I think that's one thing that it does.
Richard Parr
really
wouldn't know what the hell we're talking about social media now. Facebook and Instagram and you know, he wouldn't know any of it. Woke and what I mean, I don't even know what these words mean. So I think it's just a reflection of our time.
And I think that's the power of comedy, isn't it? I think it says something about the world we live in. Well, maybe let's finish here. We're by this lovely fountain with the sun going down. Is this a big fish? I quite like it.
It's a naked boy.
A naked boy on top of a fish.
With a pigeon on top of him.
With a pigeon on his head. What could be a more perfect way to finish things with the sun going down?
It's lovely.
Shazia, I hope you've enjoyed our little chat and walk through Hyde Park.
Nice. It was lovely.
Was it all right?
Yeah, Hyde Park's lovely. I know. I wouldn't never normally walk through Hyde Park on a Monday afternoon.
It's been fun, hasn't it? We'll do the next one in Birmingham.
Okay, great. Yeah. That'll be funny. Yeah.
Okay, Shazia Mirza, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of Park Date. There's lots more where that came from, and there'll be more in the future as well. If you enjoyed it, please leave a review, good or bad, make them funny. I'll be reading out the best ones, and there'll be a prize for the one that makes me laugh the most. Name check some trees in your reviews and leave them wherever you get your podcasts from. Check out our website, parkdate.co.uk, and if you see me walking around in the park, come and say hello. I think that was the sound of someone sneezing. Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye. Coming up on the next edition of Park Date, I'll be on the island of St. Helena, where I'll be asking Jonathan the tortoise to take time out from mating with his partner Emily to talk to me about some of his favourite moments from the last 190 years of his life. That's on the next edition of Park Date.